Can you hear me? Can you hear anything? I didn't publicize tonight's show because I didn't know if anybody was going to be able to hear anything. So if you can hear me, let me get an amen from the amen corner, okay? Let me get an amen. We can hear you, Yvette. Because listen, this is all me. I'm all in here experimenting. My own self, doing all kinds of things to try to make this tech work. So let me just say, yes, you can hear me. Oh, that's wonderful. I see the little meters going up, but last time it was a whole lot of foolishness in here. So we can hear me. Ooh-wee. So listen, please hit the like button. All that good stuff. We got a survey out. I'm going to listen. It's all kinds of stuff. I always wonder about people who nothing happens to their stuff. Like people who always say like, oh, I'm doing whatever, but then like your stuff don't never have no problems. You doing stuff for Black America and all this stuff, and you don't never have the problems that I'm having. I just kind of wonder what's going on with you. You really, yeah, y'all, your stuff is flawless. All your stuff is flawless, but you don't ever have no problems. You fighting everybody, but you don't never have the kind of problems I have with my cable and my network. But anyway, please hit that like button, fam. While we're here, they got us over here buffering and stuff now. Before it was, we didn't have no volume, and the volume went out. Now we buffering. Can't tell me people ain't playing games, but whatever. It's wonderful, family. First 7 minutes of this, we got to just be wonderful and act like ain't nothing bad happening. So anyway, fam, let me just get into it. Because I said this is a test show anyway. That's why I didn't publicize and put it on social media that I was coming back tonight. I just want to see, I just want to make sure, because it's a test show. We testing. We're all guinea pigs in here together, and it's wonderful. Now, listen, fam. We had a whole thing happen with Condoleezza Rice, and I'm not gonna keep it too long. But I want to, because it's testing. But this is what I want to say. Because let me start off with somebody said, who is Lucky Sport? In the chat, Lucky Sport said it's time to bash Condoleezza Rice time. I think we gotta kind of get out of that. We gotta get out of this idea that criticizing somebody is bashing them. Like, you all have no problem, a lot of you have no problem criticizing me in the comments. And I don't have any problem with that. Water off a duck's back, like I always say. But you can't be that way with me, but then kind of say it's not time. You can't do it with somebody else who actually has a lot of power or has had a lot of power in government. As a matter of fact, I didn't even bring up a picture of Condoleezza Rice. I thought about playing a video and I said, oh, it's not necessary. It is absolutely not necessary for what I'm doing to bring up that. I wanted to play it because I can play it. I have the capability through my technology to play it, but I said, no, I'm not doing it. I want to kind of bring it home. For those of you who did not hear, let's just slow it down a little bit. For those of you who did not hear what she said, she basically said some talented 10th boule stuff in terms of January 6th. She said it's time for us to get over it. Let's move on from the insurrection and all that stuff. But she said something else that I want to get into the crux of, but not just her. I want to get into the crux of the problem with why we don't see the problem with what she said. The problem isn't just what she said, it's how we don't see it as a community and why we don't see as a community a problem with what she said. So she said her parents told her that racism, bigotry, or whatever the case may be, is not her problem, it's somebody else's problem. And that her job was to basically be twice as good as her, I guess, counterparts or white counterparts or whatever the case may be. Now, I want to take a moment to say something. We know now that having to be twice as good and getting half as much is oppression. So your parents, Condoleezza Rice, taught you how to deal and navigate in an oppressive environment. Doesn't make you equal. It doesn't uplift anybody. It's just how to exist as an N-word in this society. That's what they taught you. They might not have meant to. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, That's not fair. And what we're dealing with, and we know because she said, well, it's racism is not my problem. It is. Now, it might not be your problem because you landed well. You landed in the office of George W. Bush, a warmongering kind of simpleton mentally. That's where you landed eventually. I don't care how well you play the piano. I don't care how well you speak Russian. That's where you landed. And in that time, I have seen nothing that you did specifically to advocate for ADOS people. As a matter of fact, the money spent on the Iraq War, you were Secretary of State, right? The money spent over there was money that could have been spent for reparations, but we didn't get it. And you didn't advocate for anything like that. You are not a credit to your race just because you excel in terms of careerism. We have this idea amongst our community that careerism is what makes you be a credit to your race. Oh, you gotten to this point in your life and you're doing X, Y, and Z and you're a credit to... No. To be a credit to your race, and there's no such thing as race, but to be a credit to your lineage, you would need to do something for your lineage that you never did. Now, I understand they trotting you back outside. Because January 6th, we need some Negroes to come out and say, it's not a problem anymore, we've moved past it. And they've decided that you're going to be that Negro. You've always been that Negro, though. And that's the problem. The problem is what you decided to be and who you decided to become and the consequence that we bear as ADOS because of what you decided to be and become. Now, I want to say something because, one of the things that we talk about is, well, how did this kind of stuff come to be? It's not just about Condoleezza Rice. Because people always ask me, well, why do you go so hard? Why in the world do you go so hard at people that are not white? You gotta be a Trumper because you go so hard at other black people and other ADOS. No, because I know the tools of white supremacy aren't always white. Let me say it again. The tools of white supremacy aren't always white. If you have a toolbox, you need a lot of tools in your toolbox, don't you? You don't just need just white tools. You got to have brown tools. You got to have black tools. You got to have ADOS tools. There's a lot of tools in that toolbox, and Condoleezza is one of them. She doesn't understand wealth or wealth creation, or she doesn't care. She went from the Boule to the White House. She doesn't care. But there is a problem. You see, it's not just her. The problem is, how do we get here? How do we get at this place? Well, part of the problem is that we don't have ADOS media anymore. We don't even have black media anymore. I hate the word black now because I know what it means in terms of what they intended it to mean. What we have is just social media. But social media is having its own set of problems. I don't know if you all have been following the Facebook problems. I'm going to go to something else for a second, which shows that how black ADOS people online have been kind of marginalized. We can't even do our own advocacy, while Facebook is kind of encouraging an American civil war for money. And nobody cares. You see, this is the whistleblower. The picture I have up, she's a whistleblower. And she brought a bunch of documents about what Facebook has been up to. You see, Facebook makes money by how long it keeps you on the page. And it can keep you on the page with controversy. January 6th. Stuff like that. It can keep you engaged with that kind of stuff, even if it means the demolition of this country. Facebook don't care. Now, mind you, I'm going to get to an article in a second. Look at Facebook. Listen what they were doing. Oh, the white people was at the White House acting up. At the Capitol. This was all stuff that was on Facebook. Like, understand, Facebook oversaw All of this stuff that happened. Now wait a minute. I'm gonna get to an article that shows you I can't even. You want to know why you never see the word black in my subject line? It's rare. You know why? If I say black, it gets demonetized. And demonetization doesn't even matter anymore as much because social media, all of them have decided that, listen, we're going to put ads on your stuff, but we're not going to give you the ad money. We're going to get into it. We're not going to give you the ad money. We're just going to make sure you get paid from the people who are watching your show. But we're not going to give you the ad money, but we're going to make sure the ads are shown on your stuff. Wait a minute. So I can't say black. Even if I say black in the first 7 minutes of my show, it gets demonetized. Now, the demonetization is not a lot. It may be around $100 a show, max. Why? Well, let's talk. We're not gonna get to that yet. Let's talk a little bit more about all this stuff that was we blaming all the Republicans for being at the Capitol and the insurrection, but there were a lot of federal agents who were there too, and allegedly, and all this stuff happened on Facebook by bullet or ballot. Y'all trying to steal from Malcolm X for this trash? It was all up on Facebook. See, Facebook is allowed to engage in social engineering where I'm not even allowed to have a conversation about what's real in our community and what needs to happen. I can't even talk honestly to you in a way that doesn't violate the rules of anything. But they can go on Facebook and say whatever. This is social engineering in a way that marginalizes ADOS. And let me tell you, nobody cares. Here's something else. It was all up. They organized this whole thing on Facebook. Patriots heading to D.C. Raise holy hell. That's Holly. That's not even holy. Y'all can't even spell. Crazy people. Raise holly hell. Here's something else from the 60 Minutes interview from the whistleblower about Facebook. Well, they basically say, listen, Facebook's been doing this for a while now. The leadership is wishy-washy. Colleagues cannot conscience working for a company that does not do more to mitigate the negative effects of this platform. Well, you better find somewhere else to work then, because that's what Facebook is doing. Feels strongly that the change to the algorithm has forced them to skew negative in their communications on Facebook, leading them into more extreme policy positions. Facebook knew what it was doing. Facebook knew exactly what it was doing. It knew that it was creating conflict and social engineering. It knew, hey, people stay on the page longer if I just make them fight each other. And I'm Mark Zuckerberg. I don't care. I'm going to do whatever. See, they're creating political worlds of conflict, and we bear the consequence of these political world of conflicts that they create. We bear the consequence of that. And we're not allowed to create worlds of our own. We're not allowed to have that kind of discourse. We're not allowed to have social media and black media that broadcasts over YouTube in an authentic way, because we risk getting kicked off. Ain't nobody get kicked off of Facebook, though. They loved it. It's just the truth. And let me tell you something else. We've talked about this, but because our people have no cash, have no money, advertisers don't even want to be with us. They want to sell Peloton bikes and all that kinds of stuff. We want to sell big things, and your people don't have enough money to buy big things. So we're going to put some on Yvette's YouTube. We're going to put some pro-immigration stuff. I'm not even, you just trolling me at this point and giving me $12. We're going to put some cheap cars on here. Some payday loans on here, on this channel. And maybe some people don't care, but I care. But I'm not in charge of I'm not in charge of social engineering. They are. So, I want to go into something else. Because sometimes you need a contrast. You ever need a contrast in your life where you know that if this don't work, because we're talking about social engineering and what Facebook got away with. We can't even get away of having a full-throated conversation about what we're dealing with, but they're trying to throw money, or they were trying to throw money at somebody else, and then something happened. How many of y'all had heard of Ozy Media? Ozy Media's chairman resigned. His company faces questions. That was a smiling black man. Y'all remember him, Carlos Watson. Now let me just tell you this: if this Negro can't succeed, no Negro can succeed. Because I can't remember his lineage, but he was. White people have spent their lives trying to make this man a success. He has never been charismatic. He has never been thoughtful. He was a political pundit, even though I don't know what political experience he had. They were trying to make him a success so bad. On CNN talking about how blind people dream. He was just throwing, oh, he's a millennial, he's non-racial. Throw all the monies at him. Y'all remember Carlos Watson? Y'all remember him? Big old watermelon smile. I'm just happy y'all throwing all this money at me. So this is what happened. Let's go into a little bit of it. The chairman of the Ozy Media board resigned on Thursday, saying he lacked the experience in crisis management and investigations to continue leading the company. Mark Lassery, a hedge fund manager who is also a co-owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, made the announcement 4 days after the New York Times reported that someone from Ozy Media appeared to have impersonated these people. What kind of liars do impersonations? Listen to this. Listen to how they do. Reported that someone from Ozy appeared to have impersonated a YouTube executive during a conference call with Goldman Sachs bankers while trying to raise $40 million. Understand, somebody went in there and allegedly played a whole game. Ozy's doing great. Now let me tell you, I peeped that a long time ago. I said, these people from Ozy Media have 1 million views, and that's a lie, because ain't nobody mentioned that man to me. Somebody went in there and said, I am from YouTube, and they're doing a wonderful job. It's a whole fraud. We go to jail for that. But let me just go on. Mr. Carlos Watson, Ozy's or Ozy's, whatever the name of this little weird stuff was. Chief Executive Carlos Watson told the Times that the person had been Samir Rao, the company's co-founder and chief operating officer. He was desperate, child. He just went on there and lied. During the call, the supposed YouTube executive praised Ozy, whatever, saying it was a great success on the platform. Mr. Watson attributed the incident to a mental health crisis. Mr. Ryle has not replied to questions about his role on the call. Child, let me come out here for a second. Hold on. He was so desperate to keep this con going, he decided he was going to pretend to be a YouTube executive on the call. He was going to Pink Panther that thing out. Hello, I am a YouTube executive. My name is Guilford Guilfordor, and I'm here to tell you that Ozy Media is doing spectacular. You who? Guilford Guilfordor? You will go to jail for that. I will go to jail for that. But he gets to have a mental health crisis. Child, fine. Whew. He made up a whole thing. He trying to push this on YouTube to keep this scam afloat. Child, this is a whole scam. They get the scam and just land on their feet like, ooh, oh, I'm happy I landed all right. That was close. Let me just keep going. This last part. Ozy, which made its debut in 2013, presents itself as a popular millennial media company. It somebody at New York Times messed up. It investors? You mean it's investors? Y'all can't even pay copywriters and editors. This is a travesty. It investors, I'm gonna read it like it says. It investors have included Emerson Collective, the organization run by Lauren Powell Jobs, and Axel Springer, the publishing giant based in Berlin. Ron Conway, a Silicon Valley investor and an Ozy backer, said this week he has returned his shares to the company. Oh, you in trouble, Carlos Watson. On Tuesday, Ozy board said it had hired the law firm Paul, Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison to investigate the company's business activities and leadership team. Oh, this gonna be some trouble for you. Carlos Watson, the chief of Ozy Media, resigns from NPR's, but you never should have been on the board. What did you ever do in life? See, listen, let me tell you something. People, the mainstream loves you because of what you haven't done in life, not because of what you have. You got to fail up like white people. That's interesting to be able to get to fail up like that. Mr. Watson, you were a political commentator who never done politics. That was very interesting to me when I saw it. They have been so invested in you, and we're going to figure out why. And it's going to tie all the way back to the Facebook stuff. All of this stuff ties in together. Because we got to talk about what they saw in you. Because I don't see nothing. Want to know how a bunch of seemingly sophisticated people fell for a company that every social media intern in America had questions about? A pitch deck Ozy circulated to potential investors last fall included a graphic featuring the smiling faces of a few profile backers. The billionaire, like we said, philanthropist Lauren Powell Jobs, Mark Lassery, blah, 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 same people, Milwaukee Bucks, blah, 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 blah. Wouldn't you want to join? Child, that's not my cup of tea, but let's go on. But nobody I spoke with over the last week was more piqued than Roland Martin, roly-poly. Oh, let's get into it. And Todd Brown, two members of a group led by the mogul Byron Allen. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We tried to tell you, Byron. We tried to tell all y'all. Let's have an honest conversation that shook the advertising industry this year, with the campaign meant to persuade marketers to spend more money with black-owned media companies. The effort led to a wave of meetings and hope that serious dollars would be spent. The serious ad dollars would start flowing to companies like Mr. Martin's Black Star Network. That ain't no network, child. A streaming channel. Instead, the giant ad agencies that steer much of the digital ad business have found a safe black space, a comfortable medium. And we were shocked that it was Ozy, said Mr. Brown, a former head of ad sales of Ebony and Jet magazines, whose company, Urban Edge Networks, owns a streaming service for sporting events, historically black colleges and universities. It was a story and not a business. But the story is what people wanted to buy, he said during a telephone interview last week. Ooh-wee, this is about to get juicy. Y'all stay with me. Now let's get to Rolly. What you got to say, Rolly? You was in there. Mr. Martin said the campaign he had helped start didn't wind up driving more advertising dollars to his channel. Well, hold on one second. Oh, Roland, everybody, listen. Of course it didn't, Roland. Of course it didn't end up driving more advertising dollars to your channel, you dodo bird. We told you, just like we told Byron, when he went to the Supreme Court for a valiant effort, there's nothing that you can do on your own, you dodo bird. This has to be done as a part of a movement. You have to have the people behind you. Roland, don't nobody care if you roll your big behind into a room and talk tough. Don't you understand that by now? Byron got 1,000 times more money than you, and none of this stuff worked. It has to be a part of a movement. If you don't have the people, you don't have anything. And you're so arrogant, Roland, that you don't understand it. To the point to where even when you're bankrolled by Byron, it doesn't happen for you because you are arrogant and it's horrible. And you're horrible because of it. Of course it didn't happen. No Black Star Network. What is everybody talking about? It's not a network. And you got to stop dropping it like it's hot. Don't nobody want to see that. You got to understand stuff don't nobody want to see. Nobody wants to see you dip to the floor, Roland. Jeez. Who wants to see Roland doing stripper moves? Nobody. It's a turn off. Some stuff you just can't do. If y'all want to know what I'm talking about, go to my Instagram. Goodness. But they were never going to give you no advertising dollars just because you talk tough and rolled up. Oh, y'all got into this stuff. We tried to tell everybody. It's gotta, if you don't have the people, some stuff just has to be people-led. It has to be movement-led. You ain't got nobody backing you. Rolling, you ride around in a bus, nobody backing you. We absolutely backed Byron during that court case because it was absolutely important. It's what you need. And if we hadn't been there, Byron would have had nobody there at the Supreme Court as he got out of a car to challenge and to be a part of a very important court case. There's this boule idea that you can just do stuff on your own that will never work. But let's just go back to this article. Mr. Martin found out he was wrong. Mr. Martin been wrong a lot. Particularly galling, he said, in light of the revelations that Ozy had exaggerated the size of his audience, was the reason the advertising agencies gave him when they turned him down. They were not confident that he was measuring his audience rigorously enough. Well, I agree that Ozy lied, but your people are lying too, Roland. Ain't no way you getting some of the, allegedly, ain't no way you getting some of the numbers you claim. I'm just going to tell you, somebody who's been in YouTube and watched people who organically skyrocket, nah. I would have had questions too. But that's not the reason you're not getting the money. The reason you're not getting the money is because you're not a part of a movement. Let me tell you, advertisers are scared of black movement. They're not scared of Roland or nobody else. They found this nice, shining Carlos Watson, who's apolitical and just goes around and smiles and talks about blind people and how blind people dream. They'd rather have him than you, him than me, anybody else. How do you not understand that? How is that complicated? You think you're going to tighten your ascot up in a meeting that's going to work for you? I'm Roland Martin. Don't nobody care. Don't mean nothing to nobody. Your name means nothing to nobody. They could not care less about who you think you are, Roland. And you make it easy for them because you're so arrogant. You just go around cussing people out like you're 5 years old. Yeah, it didn't work. Wasn't going to work. They had Ozy Media. Apolitical. Nobody, listen, nobody wants black politics. Nobody wants ADOS politics. Ain't nobody interested in that. And what we need is for the people to say you gotta be, you gotta be interested in that enough to keep that afloat or to do it like you do other stuff. Y'all were interested enough, Facebook, to actually allow for the planning of the January 6th insurrection. You were interested enough, Facebook, to allow that to happen, but we can't have our media, I can't have my voice broadcasted out? By what right? See, the difference between my movement and what Roland is doing, I understand that's business. I understand that, but Roland, you're not good at business. Byron's way more better than you. Way better than you. But what I'm doing over here, this is movement politics. This is about what we need to do as a people. I ain't concerned about one person nowhere. Even with the Byron Allen case, it was about the case. I'm not concerned about one individual, even myself. This is about movement. And if you don't understand the same thing I've said this whole time, we either rise together or fall together. If you don't understand that, you got a problem. Because that's just the truth of the matter. Of course they chose this person. But let me tell you something. If this person can't survive, if he can't survive with all of his vacuous nothingness, if he still got to go out and buy views, what hope is there for you, Roland? Not much. Whole lot of stuff happened. Apparently they didn't shut down. Apparently they back now. But this article was interesting because it said something that I was already thinking. Ozy shows that serious black media needs a business model. I disagree with that. It's not about a business model. It's about racism. That's all. It's just about racism. But let me go into some of what it says because it's necessary. And this is what the writer says. The work we plan to publish is important. And the audience we plan to serve deserves it. But outside of a subscription model, which few new players can pull off, the business imperatives often point in the opposite direction. Safe, innocuous content is what attracts advertisers, if not audience. Advertisers want to say they support black-run media, but they're terrified of the topics and stories that a lot of black-run media companies might be most driven to publish and audience might be attracted to. So wait a minute. Hold on. You can't publish our media about our oppression and nothing, but you can post media on social media and everywhere. Although YouTube has pulled some of it, but Facebook allowed this to happen. This is social engineering. It is social engineering when you allow this to happen, but we can't have a conversation about what we're going through as people, as a community. We can't have that conversation, but they can do that. Let me go back to the article. Mr. Watson's ability to raise millions and generate ad revenue for a breezy journalistic product focused on the new and the next, which from what we can tell, hardly any real audience consumed. Yes, nobody ever passed around any Ozy content. You never saw it on Twitter, nowhere else. It was a total fraud, allegedly. Don't be coming at me. Should not be taken as a positive sign that it can be done with a few ethics tweaks. It's another discouraging data point in an industry full of them. Too many of the people responsible for doling out the dollars that keep the industry afloat would prefer to give money to a company like Ozy with an Ivy League educated pitchman selling a shiny, controversy-free vision of news and opinion with none of the real world stuff. Yeah, he don't care. He's just out for himself. He's always been out for himself. Ozy was the white whale, the perfect brand safe opportunity for folks to say they were supporting a black media company, even if the only black person being supported in the process was Mr. Watson. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Wait, you trying to say he ain't have no black people on deck? Nope. He was the only black face. And he said, I'm going to give you something nice and shiny. I am not here for all this controversy. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to be here and just talk about what's new and what's next. But if you support me, you support a black company. He been failing up for a long time. I don't think I've ever seen somebody fail up as long as Carlos Watson failed up. I don't even know how he got to be called a political commentator. I remember he had his own show. Do y'all remember he had his own show at like MSNBC or CNN or somewhere like that? He had his own show. And everywhere he went, he was a failure. Everywhere he went, it didn't work out. Everywhere he went. Now he was out there, they say, allegedly buying views and stuff. There's a lot of people that buy views, though. Don't get me to start on the people in this YouTube environment who purchase their views. There's a lot of them. I ain't going to talk about it. Not going to sue me and get me taken offline, but you know who you are. All of y'all who all of a sudden you 80,000, 100,000, you a lie. A lot of stuff don't make sense about that, but I ain't gonna talk about it. Not my point to talk about it. Not my role. But let's just go to the next thing about Mr. Carlos. Advertisers want to reach the masses with their ads, but do not want their ads connected to anything with a whiff of controversy. Come out of that for 1 second. Let me come out of it for 1 second. If you don't understand anything, understand this. Our lives, our politics, everything that we are is nothing but controversy. Everything we talk about is controversy. Not because we did it. It's controversy because America made it controversial. America made justice controversial. How do you do that as a country? You make justice, you made reparations controversial. Everything that we need has to be discussed in a controversial context. It's not our fault. That's America's fault. So how do we come in here and say we have to be non-controversial? There's no way to do it. What you want me to do? Come in here and paint pictures? Well, I like this watercolor. Just adjust this watercolor for y'all. I'm going to show y'all how to do potted plants. That's not politics. And the politics that we need is controversial, but they're telling us we can't do controversy in our media. Can't do controversy on YouTube. Can't do controversy in terms of black media. Can't do controversy. Everything that we do by them is considered controversial. Which means that you can't make money off the thing that you do, which means that you can't live, which means that we can't do black media. And nobody's upset about it. I think there's some people who are upset they can't get rich because of it. But nobody's upset that we can't have a voice because of how this is set up. The NAACP ain't nowhere. They somewhere at the Supreme Court protesting DACA. You know, the funniest thing is when this happened to conservatives, the conservatives showed up for other conservatives. So this is wrong. Y'all are censoring other conservatives on these platforms. Nobody has stood up for us at all. Nobody has come and said, you know what? You know, lineage matters and ADOS is being censored on these platforms. Not one person. But let me just go back to this quote really quick. This is very apparent when it comes to stories about race and racism. Vice Media Group found last June that its content about George Floyd protests and Black Lives Matter was monetized at a 50% lower rate than other news content because of keyword blocking. When advertisers block their ads from appearing on articles that have certain words or phrases. Marsha Cook, Vice Media Senior Vice President of Global News and Special Projects and Capital B board member, said in a presentation last year that an agency representing a large entertainment company sent Vice a keyword block list that included black people. Try monetizing that as a black publication. Black people is blocked. You cannot get monetization. Just read that before I take it down. Black people is blocked. We can't even talk about our community because they've ensured that if we do, we don't get any ad revenue. And you can get blocked as a channel too. They have assured that if we have a conversation. Now, wait a minute. It's not no other group. It's not Latino. It's not Asian. We people of color. What? And then what they tell us? I'm not. I'm ADOS. But they keep saying, "Oh no, we all in together." I don't see any other group protesting what was just written here. How many Hispanic, Latino, people of color groups are protesting that we can't use black people? That's on the media advertisers block list. How many people are protesting that? Don't worry, I'll wait. You say we got friends, right? All these friends and we in it together. How many in it together people are protesting this? Again, it don't say you can't use Asian people. It don't say you can't use Latino people. It don't say you can't use Hispanic people. It don't say you can't use Native Americans. It says you can't use Black Americans. All Black people. You know, I don't know about you, family, but that tells me something. That tells me that there's a whole kind of thing going on to kind of ensure that we're the bottom caste and that we don't have an opportunity to tell our stories. Because you tell me I can't say Black people. I can't even say Black. I can tell you from experience, if I put Black in the subject line, it's over with. If I say Black America, if I say Black people want a conversation with Biden, it's over with. Demonetized. And even the monetization, it's not much. So I can tell you right now, what's happening is they're saying, listen, you don't get to exist, and your politics does not get to exist in this space. You don't get to have an independent politics in this space. As a matter of fact, we're saying we're relegating you. You better go talk about flowers, Yvette. You better go talk about something else, because we're relegating what you are allowed to talk about and what you are going to be monetized to talk about. And if we demonetize you, we know we take food out of your mouth. It doesn't matter how engaging you are. Doesn't matter how charming you are. Doesn't matter how educated you are. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. We have decided that we're not going to talk about Black people no more. And that's how oppression happens. That's how, go all the way back to the front. You know, I like to frame a thing. Go to Condoleezza Rice. That's how Condoleezza Rice happens. You know why? Because there is no Black media that is allowed to challenge what she's saying. That antiquated, talented, tenth nonsense. That stuff ain't, we got the data now, Condoleezza Rice. You sound stupid. We know that plunder matters. But because we don't have media, and because the algorithm acts in such a way that I can't get beyond a certain amount of views, we can't tell the rest of Black America that you're stupid. I mean, stupid in terms of wealth creation and Black politics and ADOS politics. We can't tell the rest of America that everything you said is stupid and disproven. Because you're on The View. There is no space for us to say, this person is performing for the white gaze. This person has a battery in her back and she's been pushed out there, and I can disprove every point. There's not a space to say that. Going all the way back to Condoleezza, there's not a space to say the truth about what the data says. How that poverty is passed down through generations, about how everybody didn't have two Black professional parents, Condoleezza, about how the fact that there are a lot of people who work, ADOS people who work way hard, but even though they did what your parents say, they still a janitor. And nothing wrong with that, but they should be way more. There's no way for us to counter that. We can't even say Black people. You can get on The View and say all kind of nonsense. We can't even say Black people on YouTube. What does that say? See, when you ask yourself, how have so many of our people gotten confused and discombobulated? I don't understand how so many of us don't know. You have to understand something. You have to understand that there used to be a time throughout our history where we had Black media. Black media has now been replaced with MSNBC. And Joy Reid said, these are Russian bots. They're not real Negroes, because she's just so desperate to get her check. Black media has replaced from MSNBC, CNN, all of that. So we can't talk to each other. We can't have conversations with each other. See, if I can't tell everybody, hey, let me show you all the charts about why Condoleezza Rice is wrong. If I can't talk to y'all about all that on a mass scale, it reduces the impact and the influence I'm allowed to have. Imagine Native Americans saying, YouTube prevents me from saying Native American. Imagine Latinos or Hispanics saying, YouTube prevents me from saying Latino or Hispanic. Imagine Asian Americans saying, YouTube prevents me from saying Asian. Or anybody, any of these other media companies. Or it's blocked. They'd be in the streets immediately. Our people don't even know this is going on. We don't even know how deficient we are in terms of our politics. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. And it's going to take a lot to get over it. And let me just read this last part to you, because this goes to what I'm saying about YouTube. In the case of YouTube, even if, please read this closely, fam. In the case of YouTube, even if advertisers wanted to support this content, they couldn't. An April investigation in the markup uncovered Google's curious practice of blocking advertisers from targeting social justice keywords and phrases, effectively preventing untold numbers of black creators, me included, black creators' videos and channels from being discovered for monetization. So wait a minute. It's not just the advertisers who are saying they will advertise. YouTube is saying that we won't let them advertise with you. That's where the money went. That's where the money went. That's why I get annoyed when people say, oh, Yvette, you make a bunch of money from YouTube. You idiot. Listen, they're saying they're blocking advertisers from targeting social justice keywords. They're not letting advertisers advertise with me even if they want to. You think the NAACP cares? No. They got too much DACA stuff to do. You think the masses, ADOS America or Black America cares? Nah. People in the chat care. You care, I care. No, they don't care. But you gotta care. It don't work. Like, listen, none of this stuff works if you don't care. None of it. If you don't care, it don't work. And we'll all bear the consequence of not caring. That's just what it is. What do you want me to do? That's the consequence. We will all bear the consequence of not caring about this. We have to be able to give our story. And the people that tell these stories have to be able to live. By what right have you to monetize all kind of foolishness, but you won't monetize justice for ADOS? By what right? And by what right do people have not to say nothing about this? You want stuff for your life, right? We all have people who want lives and want to live, and you support all this stuff. But then nobody shows up and say, hey, YouTube, no, we're not playing this game. Oh, the Decadent Veil don't care. They got $10,000 from a movie. If you don't care, though, it's not about me. If you don't care, it's going to be a problem for the whole community. Because what happens if you don't care is Condoleezza Rice goes out to tell that talented 10th boule BS. And people hear, black people, white people, yeah, she got a point. Yeah. She said we got to move past it and you can work through oppression and it don't matter. So nobody knows about wealth because Condoleezza Rice decided to come out with some old tropes and just dance. But you don't hear the counterpoint. And if you hear the counterpoint, it eviscerates her. It mocks her. It runs her off of any stage she's on. If you hear the data points, it runs her off of any stage. She's embarrassed if you actually challenge her. But what the media landscape allows is that we're not allowed to challenge her. She's giving carte blanche. We're giving nothing. That's a problem. Because that means her narrative is a narrative that goes out there to white America, ADOS America, people of color America. And the truth doesn't even get to be a part of the conversation. I don't even know if Condoleezza Rice, she probably believe that stuff too, that stupid stuff she said. It don't matter what happened a long time ago. Let me tell you, Jewish people after the Holocaust, they didn't get pep talks about, hey, just try harder and be optimistic, sunny side up like the egg. They didn't get that. They got checks. And somebody should ask Condoleezza Rice, why would you tell Jewish people, Condoleezza Rice, after the Holocaust, would you tell them to just focus on trying harder and to just focus on being more positive and being twice as good in the Germany that just was Nazi America? Or would you focus on returning to them money, their art, and everything? Something tells me that you would never talk down to Holocaust survivors or their heirs the way you talk down to your alleged own people. Something tells me that, but I can't ever get in your face to say that to you because I'm relegated to the bottom rung of YouTube. Even though I deserve way more. I'd cook you one-on-one. But this is how they keep us separated. And there's nobody, there's no movement, there's no people who are saying, listen, this is a problem. YouTube is marginalizing ADOS advocacy by how they're doing and what they're doing. Nobody's saying anything about it. And that's a problem. Let me tell you, I'm going to go to break and see if these phones work. But before I say that, before I go there, we have to make a decision. It's just what it is. Either our politics matter or they don't. Either we're serious about our politics or we're not. And part of being serious about our politics is being serious about how our politics are communicated. And if YouTube is an enormous platform for me and a whole bunch of other people who would not only are here now, but would like to be on this platform, we have to be serious about how we're protected on this platform and other platforms. And we have to be serious about how we're going to stand up in terms of censorship, in terms of how the justice movement is censored on certain platforms. We have to be serious about that. And if we're not serious about that, we're not serious about our movement. We're not serious about our children. We're not serious about our lineage, and we're not serious about our legacy. The fact that they can just tell us, hey, black people, justice, anything that helps Negroes out, nah, we're not going to allow advertising for that. That lets you know everything. And we have to decide as a group what we're going to do about that. For everybody. Because if they can get on Facebook and say this, but I can't get on YouTube and advocate for my own people. Houston, we have an enormous problem. So anyway, fam, just let me get a few minutes and try to set up this phone, because this is like I said, this is touch and go. It's experimental right now. Okay? If it comes through, it comes. If it don't, it don't. We just gonna have to pray about it. But let me just try to set up the phones. I'll be back, and hopefully, if we can get it done, cross your fingers, we can have a conversation. Okay? Back in a sec. All right, fam. Let's see. I'm trying to take a couple calls, see if they come through. Like I said, it's experimental time, so we don't know. We don't know, but we're gonna try. So let me try to go to 423. 423. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. This is Terrence calling from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hey, Terrence, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just calling to just support you and just, let you know that me and my wife, we've been watching for about 5 years, and we're big fans. And, when I first came to the channel, I heard what you were saying, and, in the beginning, I rebuked it. I rejected
like
it.
the devil.
I had to come back. I had to come back because I was like, well, Yvette is speaking different. This is some things I haven't heard before, but you had been talking about, ADOS and everything, and I always figured something was wrong in the community, but I didn't have the words to describe it and put my fingers on it,
Mm.
So, I'm nervous, sorry.
Take your time. Take your time.
But I was just thinking that ADOS, I felt like two things about ADOS. I felt like we're the gateway, and we're also the blueprint. I say that because I feel like we're the blueprint because our struggle has been like emulated around the world and in several countries, and other groups try to emulate our struggle to for their politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're the blueprint because in addition to that, well, anyway, I'm sorry. We're the gateway because I feel like more progressive policies are going to pass once we do get reparations. I feel like the left and right are so racist that they'll say, wait a minute, look what you gave ADOS. Look at these reparations. Maybe we want to get this in addition and this and that. I think all paths lead, through ADOS getting reparations in this country.
I kind of agree with you. I'm not going to lie. I kind of agree with you. I think all paths lead to ADOS.
That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you for calling in.
Bye.
Bye, fam. Okay. Let's see that one. That one worked all right. What is going on here? Yeah, I think, I don't know how to say it, but I do kind of think, oh, my little thing is acting up here. It's always something that's acting up, fam. I can't say enough about it. But let me just go to another caller because it's always something that just acts up. I'm going now to 727. What's your name? Where you calling from and what's on your mind?
Hello, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Geraldine Gilfador. We gotta laugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because laugh and get right back to work. I tell you, this is really pathetic. Once again, we're relegated to going to that little special spot in the woods. We're not even able to socialize and communicate within our own community. And I guess this show is really perfect timing because I'm really trying to take it to the next step. Listening to you and Tone has really just kind of brought me down to earth. I called in a while back and mentioned how I lost my son. So I'm kind of getting my legs back now. It's been a couple years. And I thought I could kind of reach out to others that have gone through this, especially our own community. So with the show, I almost don't know where to go. Do I go back and work around my tags? I mean, I've been looking for suppliers that were local, not being so international. And one of them I found is a Japanese-American company, Oriental Trading Company, I think it is. And in their policy, it mentions, as far as the affiliate marketing and everything, that you must post politically and socially neutral content, no pornographic or illegal material. And so that's the umbrella we get to be under as ADOS. This is awful. But anyway, that's all I got. I'd like your feedback on what I should do, because I had tried to stray away from the African American and leave it as a laugh tag, because I know a lot of us still relate to that. And then I was really trying not to pull anyone else's tag, but just use it as Black American. So now I really don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But that's all I got. Thank you so much.
Thank you, fam. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, I don't think everybody understands how politics has left us in a position where everybody, it don't matter who you are, you just get to tell us what to do. You get to tell us what to do, kind of how to feel and how to maneuver and what to put on our things and what to post. And it's almost like we're not the people who built the country. I don't think people understand that. Like, it's supposed to be the other way around. We're supposed to be dictating the norms in this country because we're the builders. That's who we are. But that's not how we positioned ourselves, and that's not how the people who are our leaders have positioned us. And there's kind of no way around that. So we're relegated almost. Honestly, it's almost like we all just came to this country like last week, and people are telling us what to do, as opposed to the other way around. And so you can't post this. Now, this is another country or whatever. And it's just, we don't have politics. We don't have advocates. And that's why I tell everybody that the ADOS Foundation is the only way to go. You don't have any other advocates. You don't have any. There are people within the organizations who are advocating for you, but they are not the heads and the power of the organization. So there are good people in all these organizations, NAACP, all of them. But the people who are at the heads of these organizations have decided that they're going to go, how that little saying said, where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside, right? It's almost like we should cut all that off and say you don't even get to take money. It is what it is. We are who we are. You don't get to take money and then come back here and then act like we ain't poor. So anyway, I'm gonna try to take one or two more calls. It looks like we're coming in okay. 310. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
It is Carl. Hey, man, it's Carl in Cali.
Hey, what's going on?
I just wanted to say that, hey, based on what you described, it's kind of like not being monetized is like a modern benign neglect where it's like, okay, black people won't talk about it and it'll just go away. And that's like a mechanism for us to disappear. And then as far as like Condoleezza Rice with the whole work hard stuff, I try to tell people because of what happened with the home appraisals where black people were getting their homes appraised for less value.
I remember that.
Like when you apply that, okay, thank you. When you apply that, work hard. Like, so basically you're telling black people to work hard, and in essence, for those people to get the higher appraisals for equivalent homes that white people have, they have to remove every essence of blackness from their home and then have a white stand-in to get the appraisal. So in order for us to work hard, it's like just diminish our humanity altogether. And like that's where we seem to be as a people when it comes to the outside society. And for the most part, I'm definitely in agreement with what you're saying as far as like we really don't have allies. We stand up for everybody. We run around behind, stop Asian hate, let's go down to the border, etc. But when it's an issue that's impacting our community, we stand alone. Like what's that? The cheese stands alone or something.
But let me say this, fam. You know what's worse? We don't demand that people stand with us. That's what's. I mean, how do you deal with the stuff that we deal with, right? And you don't demand that people stand with you. You got to say, no, I was with you over here. I was over here with DACA, and I would never have been over there like that because, competition for my people. But whatever, you was over there. But then when the stuff happened to us, we don't ever say, hey, where you at? Where you been? Like honestly, listen. Even with Haitians, what happened was I didn't see none of the Hispanics or Latinos saying we stand with Haitians. I didn't see none of that. Even in immigration. So I think the problem is when people don't stand with us, we have leaders who just kind of duck tail and sit down and say, well, I guess it ain't gonna work out. We just got to get our next donation from Walmart or whoever we get it from, and our people have just kind of said, well, we don't even do politics. We just gonna work. No, just working don't work. You gotta have politics, and you have to have political leaders. It is what it is.
Yes, and they basically stepped away from their role of advocacy. I think it's like go along, and get along type of attitude.
Well, go along and get that money. Yeah, go along and get them donations, them big donations from corporations. Let's go along and get that. And the thing is, you have to be, even if you take a donation from a corporation, you have to understand that, like, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. That's my posture in terms of the ADOS Foundation, right? I'm going to be who I'm going to be. If you give a donation, it's not going to change who I'm going to be. You can't buy me off. You just might not donate next time, right? I'm not going to change who I am to get some money, because the money don't mean anything if the money changes me. The money can't change my character, or the money can't change what I stand for, because then the mission is dead. But don't nobody care about the mission in these organizations. Urban League was buying a new building, so they were building a new building, so they had to get the monies. So, whole lot of stuff going on. And except for us, nobody seems to care. Either people have written off these organizations, or they love them, or people are still fighting within them, which is a good thing. And like I said, that's why we have Project Takeover, to get into organizations that have money and have influence. That's what it's all about. But, you're right. You still there, fam?
I'm still here. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm in agreement. It's just, like, even right now with organizations, it's still, I had a friend tell me, we have to be strategic because we're the minority, and everything we do, we have to make it as if there has to be a benefit for the dominant culture. So if there's no benefit for the dominant culture, then we don't get the groundswell of people that we would want. And like you're saying, as black people standing solo, we seem to get ignored. And it's like, hey, we're here. And they're like, yeah, but you're black, so you don't matter.
Yeah, but the funniest thing is we don't stand solo together anymore. That's what we need to do. Like, it would be different. That's why Democratic down ballot was so important. Like, nah, screw the top of the ticket. Screw it.
Yeah.
Because neither one of those candidates have done enough or promised enough to us. And then they would have had to come back the next time and say, you know what? We lost a bunch of black people. And we got to get them back. And we got to figure out what policies get them back. We don't do that, though. And so even in standing alone, like when you stand alone, you got to stand for something. You got to stand on behalf of something. And people who say, well, we can't stand alone, haven't stood alone for a long time.
You're right. And right now, when Biden's moving, he's kind of, even though he says, I owe you black people, and, you know, some videos on YouTube, you can all see it, he said it. And right now, based on what he's done policy-wise, he's forgetting the promise that he owed us. But, you know, we knew that was coming.
Well, yeah, he said that, like, y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all some suckers. Y'all ain't going nowhere. And he told us, he said, y'all got to figure it out, get along with the Latinos. It's going to be, figure it out. I don't care what you do, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. That's what he told them when he was remember the meeting with the NAACP and the quote-unquote black leaders who are not black leaders? Yeah.
When he got exposed before the election.
Yeah. And he told him, he said, no, I'm not. Well, shut up. Like, why are you in? He pimp slapped all of them. I'm not, listen, y'all got to figure out what y'all got to figure out. Ain't got nothing to do with me. Just shut up. And talking to me about this stuff. He let me know. That meeting let me know that Biden and the powers that be have decided that they are post-ADOS. We got enough. They have decided we got enough people of color. We don't really need you no way. Now they do need us though, because we look at those maps. Look at what happened. But they have decided that, well, not really. And we haven't shown them any different.
But you said it, because in that meeting he did say basically Hispanics are up next, so y'all gotta chill. So
Yeah.
he put it out there on the table.
Well, we gotta, I have to do that. I said I was gonna do the book club after the conference, so I have to set up the book club day. But if you all have not gotten the book club book, please get it, because we have to talk about how there has always been competition between quote unquote people of color, and so now somebody done won, and it ain't us, and we don't have our politicians are and our advocates are not fighting for us anymore. You fighting for other groups. Ain't that something? You weren't there for the Byron Allen case, NAACP. You were there for DACA. You have been bought off by them. Somebody done won. And it ain't the people who built the country. You all should walk. Just start walking somewhere. Walk into the wilderness. Because this is awful. How you all have abdicated your responsibility to us. And it's awful that not enough people care. Not enough people care. Not enough of our people care. I ain't caring about enough. I just need my people. They just live life like politics is not a part of that, but it is. So much of your life is politics. It is. What you're owed is politics. It is. And But go ahead, fam. I'm going to let you finish up.
No, that's it. I appreciate your feedback, and I'm looking forward to another conference. I missed this one. Was that the first one? So I'll let you.
Oh, okay. Appreciate you, fam. I haven't really been able to talk about, because this is actually, I think, my first, because of the mishaps, my first kind of post-conference YouTube. And what I will say is that, man, the conference was phenomenal. That's all I can say. We had a great time. We had the difference in this conference and other conferences was that, well, the last conference was that it was focused, and I talked about it to the people who were there. It was focused on organizing and not just the last conference. We had a lot of high profile people, Marianne Williamson, Congressman Yarmouth, Cornel West. This conference was focusing on how to organize in your community. What does power look like? How does power move? How do you get people in different precincts, and how do you it was focused on all of that. And for me, it was about, there were a lot of people previously who talked about we're going to be boots on the ground, but when it came down to it, they were not boots on the ground. They were people who wanted to be boots on the ground, and we appreciate that. But there has to be some kind of way to kind of formalize that and give people the training to do that, because we realized that a lot of people talked about being boots on the ground, but they didn't know how to do it. Right? And we don't fault you for that, whether you're here in the org or not. It's just that we understand that you were incapable of doing that kind of work. There are a lot of people who want to kind of show up in front of the camera, or thought that, and I think they thought that I'm not shading them. I think they really thought that I'm just going to show up and talk truth to power, and that's going to be the thing that's going to change ADOS. And it's like, no, the only thing you're doing is getting attention for yourself. And if you just want to run for office or something, I guess that's what you want. But that's not how you influence people. That's not how you create change. And so we brought some trainers in to kind of talk about that and contribute to that. It was phenomenal. And as always, we get together, we have fun. It's a family reunion vibe because we love each other, we family, and that's what it was. And to those of you who were not there, you were missed. But those of us who were there, we had a great time all the way around. So let me go to my next caller. I'm going to 267. 267, what is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. I'm Twitch from Philadelphia. Congratulations on the conference. I can't wait till we get a Philadelphia chapter going. One of the things I did want to talk about, though, is even on YouTube, one of the things that I've done is try to get people to watch your videos during Antonio's videos. Mm-hmm. Now the algorithm actually brings up negative stuff about you guys.
Ooh.
You put your name or Tone's name, and you'll find 10 negative videos about y'all before you get a good video.
Woo! I think
have actually been targeted.
Yeah, somebody told me that if you type in ADOS too, it's not just us. If you talk in ADOS, all of the negative ADOS stuff comes up, and not the co-founders. Antonio don't come up, I don't come up. It's just the negative stuff about ADOS. Yeah, and you can't tell me that's not intentional. I don't care what nobody says.
10 videos.
Yeah. Yep. And let me say this. It'll be 10 videos too. The first two will have 85 views. And it's just how does that come up first? Over something that has 17,000, 20,000, 30,000. Yep, it's intentional.
I guess it tells us that you're doing the right thing and that we're moving in the right direction. That's how I look at it. Can you please, because some of your videos, and I guess you're going to have to recap some stuff, for new people and stuff like that, because they take some of your videos now. But you did a video one time, and I hope you repeat what you said. And you said the reason why you came over ADOS was because you had to teach us our name first. I need you to say that again.
Well, I think identity matters more than anything. If you don't have your identity, if you get into anything and you don't have your identity anchored, if you don't know who you are, that's why if you ever watch a movie, the first thing they teach, even in the, I always talk about ADOS as a hero's journey, because we are, right? That's just what we are. We can't help it. We're heroes. They always say you're the son of whatever, or you're whoever. You have to know who you are. And that's what King was talking about in his book. He said, I don't know why y'all are running around wearing dashikis. It don't make no sense. And he was right. You have to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, if you don't have your identity down, and I talked about that in the 2019 conference. If you don't have your identity down pat, people can steal from you, and that's how they've been stealing from us. You ever notice that we're a group, and we're like the only group where they steal everything from us: inventions, music, identity. They got us going back to Africa when Africans are coming over here and want to be American.
We can't even have our own pain.
No.
We can't even have our own pain.
Yep. I agree. What does that tell you?
You actually gave the analogy, and that's I hope you remember it, of a kid going to school, and you have to teach them their name before you can teach them to read. And ain't doing anything. You teach them you have to teach them their name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah, you are Jamal Bryant, right? And that's what your parent teaches you too. You are Keisha Gerard, or whatever the case may be. This is who you are. These are your parents. This is your history. And for too long, we have been a very lost group, where we have put ourselves over here, over there, and kind of dismissed our contribution to America because it made us feel away. And if we don't get that back, we're in trouble. I'm just gonna tell you that straight. So
The next thing that you're going to have to do, and I don't mean to bring it up, because of ADOS and the movement that you did, we got this freedmen running around, and that's going to be the vision that you're going to have to deal with. We also got Native Americans, and you're going to have to, or one of these Native Americans, that ADOS, what they wanted, they hero worship Indians. I don't know, we hero worship with other groups too. We got a hero worship thing going on with our groups too. It's something that you're going to have to speak to at some point.
thank you, fam. I'll speak to it after this call. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you, fam. And let me just speak to what he said. Like, what I would say is, it's below me now. Some stuff is below me. I'm not fighting. Like, everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody's not gonna make it. And what I would say, regardless of how you view, if you view and you believe, and you might be, a native or indigenous person, like, that's not my fight right now for you. My fight is for ADOS, descendants of slavery, reparations, transformative black agenda. You might not make it. And that's not my problem. And I'm not fighting with you. I'm looking for a bigger enemy, right? I'm after white supremacy right now. I'm tired of fighting people who nip at my heels or because they do whatever over here, or people who have kind of lifted talking points and do that over there. You all can do that. I don't care anymore. I don't care about you. And I'm not going to address you. I'm going to go and find the enemy that is oppressing my people, and I'm going to fight that person. Because you all have wasted my time long enough, and I'm not going to allow my time to be wasted anymore. You all have taken enough of my time, and I have made a case for everything that I've made a case for. And so I'm not going to be wasting time with infantile people who have decided that the best thing that they could do is not fight white supremacy, but to attack me. You can attack me all day long. I'm just not going to be responding with videos or something. If you're lucky, you might get a tweet. That's it. I'm not interested, because, and it's not anything I feel about myself, or I'm not arrogant. It's just the fact that life is so serious for my people. I ain't got time to play with you no more. Right? And the only reason I debated some of you beforehand, because I was trying to hold up a mirror. Not just for you, but so everybody could see who you are and what you stand for, which is nothing. So I tried to do that. And if it didn't work, if it worked, it worked. If it didn't work, it didn't work. I don't care. Because the real enemy's over here. Some of you all are tools of that. And to the extent that you are a tool of that, I will talk about that in very general terms. I ain't got time to play with y'all no more. Y'all been on the playground for like 3-4 years. Ain't nobody got time for that. Some of you all make very good money from making videos that don't make no sense, right? And that's fine. Listen, it's not my issue. Knock yourself out. Everybody ain't gonna make it. I don't anticipate that everybody's gonna make it. I'm taking my people where I take my people. Everybody ain't gonna make it. You take your followers where you take them. Walk y'all off a cliff. That's fine. I don't care. Done caring about that. Can't care about everybody. Everybody not gonna make it. So that's where I am with that. Next caller 229. 229. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? 229. You there?
I'm right here.
What's going on, fam?
Nothing much, man. I'm Larry. I'm from Georgia.
Cut your background down. I still hear your background a little bit.
I was just, yes, ma'am. What really resonated with me was you were talking here about the transformative agenda for the black community, and I think the problem is that the people that we put in office, the ones that speak for us or on our behalf, but once they get in there, they kind of seems like they operate for self. It's some kind of, I guess you could say, inside agenda that they get put on once they get in there. That they find out that they have to speak for self, that they can't represent people, and we can't do nothing about it. They know that. They can't tell us, so they operate the way they operate so that they can stay there, so they can stay at the table. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because the table's already been built.
What their career is, though, right? Like, they want their career. Like, let's just be honest about this. Advocating for ADOS is a dangerous job. How many people have been hung or shot because of that? Like, what's happened now is that the people that we call leaders don't want none of that smoke, right? And so, they want that money. Get me reelected. I'll do some stuff, right, that's good for poor people. And it may not necessarily be the best for my people, but that's what I'm going to do.
I don't think so. I think that, it's just, it's never stopped. It's never stopped, because the difference between back then and now is the ones who attempt to step in front of that for us, or speak for poor people, or speak for the people on the bottom, or the normal man, they tend to do that once they get the platform, or once they get the money, which they associate with power. And those are the ones that are still, at the end of the day, they get knocked out too. Just like Malcolm, just like Martin. The only difference is they aren't politicians. You know what I'm saying? They're doing it from their basketball career after it ended, or they're doing it from their musical career once they ascend to a certain level. You know what I'm saying?
Give me an example, fam. Give me an example.
Example?
Mm-hmm.
Example to me would be the moves that Kobe Bryant was making.
Like what?
The moves that Bill Cosby was making. We know that.
What was Kobe doing? I'm sorry. I may be ignorant, but what was Kobe doing?
What was Kobe doing?
Yeah.
Kobe was, Adidas made all this money off of Kobe Bryant. Nike made even more millions off of Kobe Bryant. Once Kobe fulfilled his obligation for those companies, and he wanted to go out and stand on his own shoes, and call them the Mamba brand, and maybe become a competitor for or compete beside Adidas and Nike, the problems came. On top of his animation that he was doing to deal with China. China, they hate Americans, particularly these specific Americans. They really don't want to do business with, because they're known to not be so honest businessmen, or they're known to always want to take, you know what I'm saying, the top side of the deal, and kind of give you the short end of the stick when it's your product that they want. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to him doing business with somebody that not known to be friendly to our country, the color of his skin made him the enemy of the state.
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this though. What was Kobe doing to benefit you? What did Kobe do to benefit our community? Kobe sounds to me like Kobe was doing something to benefit him. May he rest in peace. I'm not trying to talk bad about the dead, but you brought it up.
Okay. I mean, he didn't do anything directly to benefit me. It never got to that point. They would never let it get to that point. The thing that they said is never let there be a black Messiah. So anybody that could, it never let there be one that we can all migrate to, or one who could all get us to follow a specific upright agenda. That's where all of those before got cut down, or they got shipped out to another country, or they took a trip to another country but weren't allowed to come back into this country. You know what I'm saying? Different reasons why they kept them out. You know, so when it comes to that, you know, I look at GMJ, for instance. Certain people, you know, when they do things to you like that, Louis Farrakhan, when you're speaking upright and you're barking up that right tree, I guess you could say causing stirring up good trouble, they tend to isolate you legally through their system. If they can't isolate you legally through their system, then they tend to cut you off and make it look like it's an accident.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Colin. I'll address all of this, all what you said. I thank you for calling in. But let me just say this. This decadent veil is real. Listen, Mamba mentality and the Mamba thing. It didn't. None of that stuff was. Kobe was basically Italian. I'm sorry. I hate to say this kind of stuff because people make it sound like, oh, Yvette Carnell said something bad about Kobe. I'm not talking about Kobe. You brought Kobe up. He wasn't thinking about no little Negro kids. He grew up speaking Italian over there in Italy and all that stuff. Wasn't nobody thinking about you. And no, I just hate that. I just hate when people think people was, well, see, yeah, he was going to open the lane to benefit us. No, he wasn't. No, I ain't never seen no evidence of that. I have seen no evidence of that. Phenomenal basketball player, I'm sure. Even though I don't follow basketball. But I know he was phenomenal. And I'm not taking nothing away from him. I'm not taking nothing away from his contribution to the sport. Nothing at all. My goodness, though. In terms of politics, he made zero contribution. Zero. And that's fine. He could just be a basketball player. But don't bring him up in a political conversation, though. Because you bring him up in a political conversation, I have to tell you what I'm telling you right now. He made no contribution. None. And he had no intention of making a political contribution. Not ever. Kobe was a basketball player. Phenomenal basketball player. From what I hear from people who watch the sport, one of the best to ever do it. He deserves credit for that. May he rest in peace. But don't you bring him up in no political conversation when that man wasn't political. Some of y'all got to find better heroes. In terms of politics. Now, I'm not talking about in terms of sportsmanship. You can absolutely have him as a hero in terms of sportsmanship, in terms of grit, in terms of just whatever. But don't do that in terms of a political conversation. Y'all look to sports way too much, some of y'all, for your heroes. In terms of politics. If you want to get out, if you just want to say, I'm going to grit it out, whatever. Goodness. Anyway, let me see who my next caller is. Let me go to 601. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm all right.
I can't believe I'm finally on. It took me a long while. It took me years. I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. So, how is everything?
Pretty good. I can't complain. How about yourself? Now I said, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. And this brother said, and I went to the conference, and it was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Tried to get your attention when you had walked by with me and a couple other people, but, you know, you had some people walking with you. And I was like, there goes Yvette. You know, it was such an honor to be there.
Thank you, fam. You
Yeah,
just
so
gotta wave out next time, like Yvette. No.
Huh?
I said you gotta wave out next time, like Yvette. Jazz hands.
Yeah, I'm not good. Yeah, but keep up the work that you're doing. I'm a huge fan of you. Love you. I wish you the best, and I'm here for you.
Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, fam. I appreciate you. I don't know why some of y'all so shy. I try to get just blah. Okay, I'm going to my last call. I'm going to 214. 214, what is your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
Hi, family. This is Lillian from Louisiana.
Hey.
I'm calling because my issue is this. I look at all black media, the ones that had ancestors that were slaves, should stand together, just like Martin, when he had a movement. We have to have a force invisible. We can't be just pushed to the side. We have to stand together as a people. And that's it.
All right, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you. Well, and that's it for the calls for the night, fam. But hold on a second. I'm not saying that I don't agree that we have to stand together, but the problem that we have, what is this? Anyway, the problem that we have is that a lot of people don't want to stand together. Like, there are people who are getting checks, and they're not even big checks. They're like low six-figure checks. Would rather stand apart. And understand that even in King's Day, it wasn't the case that everybody was standing together. Let's just understand that too. It wasn't the case that everybody was standing together. King was not even well liked amongst the majority of Negroes. And he said himself, and where do we go from here? That part of the problem is that he never had enough Negroes. He talked about the white liberals, talked about everybody, but he also said, listen, there's not enough Negroes decided to come along for the party and decided to risk themselves, and that's the problem. And we still have the same problem. We still have Negroes running around here acting like that they can just do whatever they want to do and be apolitical, except when the politics hit them in the butt. Well, all of a sudden, I had to go to court and I need a little bit bail money. You think you got 200 on it? I don't got nothing on it. Wait a minute, I asked you to do all this stuff for politics and talked about the prisons and the warehousing, the black men and all this stuff, and you said they must have done something wrong. You said all this stuff. Now when they got your butt in a grip, now you want to tell me, can't we, I need a little help. No, politics got you. It wasn't just no one cop or nothing. Politics got you. And you didn't want to do politics. That's what it is, though. Everybody do politics. I'm so happy all this other con stuff is gone. Well, people said nobody does politics and people don't do politics. Now we know that everybody does politics. The Asians, remember, it used to be the whole thing that Asian people don't do politics. Remember that was Boyce's thing, and we just saw the Asians do all this politics. You see how people is dodo birds? And I think, we have to outgrow some stuff. We have to grow into a mature political culture. And we have to grow into a very nuanced political culture. You see, politics is actual chess, and our community is playing actual checkers. Right? We just not go vote. It's either we just not gonna vote or we just gonna vote for the Democrat. The right strategy is in between. It's not just I'm just gonna sit at home and just gonna be mine. My revolt against the party. And it's not gonna be I'm gonna vote blue no matter who. Y'all both crazy. Y'all both lazy thinkers. The right approach is a much more nuanced, much more thoughtful, much more organized approach. And I think we have to grow out of both of those approaches that don't work. If there's one lesson in that, that's what it is. And if we don't grow out of that, we can't see that we don't have black media, ADOS media, because of what's happening on these platforms. We don't see that Condoleezza Rice is able to say what she says because people like me and people like Antonio aren't able to say what we need to say. And the only people who can say that and say this is wrong is the community. It's not just me. I can't be just yelping and howling in the wind like an old dog. I can't do that. It has to be a community effort. And so if there's one thing that I want to end with is the importance of community. You know, we live in a space where there's not a lot of community because we exist around the mainstream, but we have to have that. And we have to learn that this whole thing, well, I got mine, you get your own. We can't do that. And I've talked about why this rugged individualism does not work for us. It never worked for us. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we'll be. And that just is what it is. But fam, I'm going to end it there. Please hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to the show, please subscribe to the show. If you want to donate, donatebrown.com or $Breaking Brown, Cash App, all of that good stuff. But make sure you like it. There was a survey I hope somebody puts back up that you need to fill out because we're just trying to figure out what you want and what you want to do. So fill out the survey in the chat so that we know if you want to start a chapter, if you want to be a leader in that chapter. We want to figure out where you are and what you want to do. So make sure that you do all of those things, fam. And hit that bell to get notifications. I know it plays games. I know all of that. But try to hit those notifications, fam. It will be wonderful, 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 and most appreciated. So that is it, fam. Please keep it easy breezy. Finish your libation. Don't bother nobody and don't let nobody bother you. I'll see y'all next time, fam.